Hey Saints fans, welcome back to the channel. And today I want to talk about Ryan Ramcheck and how maybe he's not the GOAT anymore. And clickbait title aside, truly it does feel like he's taken a little bit of a step back. And in today's video, we're going to go over a few different things. Obviously, we're going to cover Ryan Ramcheck and talk about how he's playing now and why you want to see him improve based on what we've seen. By extension, you're going to see other plays along the offensive line. And I'm also going to throw in a couple of throws by Carr at the very end of this video to let y'all see kind of where he's at and why we want him back healthy, but also at the same time, he's definitely not playing perfect or at even a high level. We'll cover all that in today's video, talking about the week 3 loss to the Green Bay Packers. Hope you enjoyed. If you do, all that I ask every time we do these videos is number one, who dat? Type in the chat. If you like the film studies, type out who dat. Let me know that you enjoy them. And remember also, number 2, that no film study you watch on YouTube, no article that you read by itself is enough to give you a well-rounded idea and create a scouting report on a player. But hopefully it's enough for you to see little things here or there that are good or bad that you can help build your own knowledge of the game and how the Saints are faring. So let's go ahead and roll the tape and get on into the more offensive line. So the first play we're going to start, obviously Ryan Ramcheck right here on your right side, is going to be a run play. And the reason I wanted to highlight this, him going against Kenny Clark here, is I wanted to show a Ramcheck who we're used to dominating on both sides of the ball, right? Run and pass. And in this one, you're going to see him not doing that. Again, the only reason we're giving Ramcheck a little bit more grief than we would somebody else is he's a former 3-time All-Pro. I mean, you expect him to be a mainstay, very stout part of this run game. Here he is in a one-on-one against a very good player, and he simply loses. He not only doesn't get any good lateral movement, he also is getting pushed back horizontally, thus ruining any gap that would have had a chance of opening up. And this is just not what you're used to seeing from Ram. And I do think that maybe he can get better. I really don't know, but all I can do is show you that right here, this is a guy that usually is getting better movement and drive off of this one and not letting the DT determine the gap that he gets to attack. Remember I talked about Malcolm Roach and Colin Saunders doing this so well, getting inside and then peeking on, around the offensive lineman, controlling the gap, having gap integrity, and you don't get that type of movement here for Ramcheck. And I'd argue that across the line, you have pretty good blocking from most people. But the dangerous thing about O-line plays, it only takes 1 out of 5 to screw up, and then it all goes to hell. And I think that right now you have a great job between the combo here, great job turning out by Penning and Hurst. And then you actually have a good job by Juwan and Jimmy Graham combining here. So you're trying to create a one-on-one and sell it. But the key is you actually need Ram to move up here. Not that you expect him to block 2 people, but you expect some movement that allows the running back to have more range in his choice, and it's just not there. And that's just not the Ram you're used to seeing. You're used to seeing him move upfield, and him moving a guy 3 yards is going to naturally start clearing some of this out instead of being right at the line of scrimmage. All right, so this is actually the very next play, and I want to show you why I'm over here going, well, damn, Ryan Ramcheck. So again, there's going to be another loss by him, and this is actually, I don't really mind the Ruiz part of this because Ruiz is designed to get to the next level on this play anyway. But Ryan Ramcheck getting completely swum over is just not what you're used to seeing. You're used to seeing even these attempts. He does a great job to get that hand placement inside, and he usually had to play string to rock and prevent this from being completely out. Instead, he ends up on the grass. And again, this is just not what you expect from Ryan Ramcheck. And when we talk about the problems of, hey, Trevor Penning needs to get better, I do believe that Trevor Penning got better this game. I still don't think he's playing at a high level or anything. I don't think in 3 games he's suddenly great, but you can certainly see Penning improving week to week, which we love to see. But Ram is a surprise, right? You don't expect Ram to kind of have these struggles. Also, Hayden Hurst. Dude, what is with this lack of push, man? Like, a Hurst is your pulling guard here. Run through a man. It's like he stops to hit him. Like, what is this? I want you to explode and then run through. He literally stops to throw his shoulder. Dude, run through him. You're 100 pounds more than he is. Oh, this offensive line can be frustrating. Anyway, it's just the Ramcheck one is surprising, and then stuff like that by Hurst is like, oh my God, man. Just, you're a 320-pound man. Run over somebody. Like, barrel through him. All right, on this rep, I actually want to show you really good blocking by both Trevor Penning and Ryan Ramcheck, and how not every play was bad, but sometimes you just have a bad read / bad throw. And maybe Carr just has a lot of confidence in Keith Kirkwood, which I guess is fine. Right above, he's going to be running a corner route, and I guess that's whatever. Look at the overall design here. We'll talk about the blocking here in a second, but the design is pretty simple. We're going to have dual corner routes, and then we're going to bust inside with 2. So we're going to have Michael Thomas hit this right at the line. We're going to have it underneath, And we have this corner here at the top of your screen, and Olave is going to run a corner to the backside. Now, my first instinct is if we're talking about a mirrored corner concept with middle of the field closed, as in there's one deep safety. No offense, Keith Kirkwood. I'm not throwing to Keith Kirkwood. I'm throwing to Chris Olave. Literally the best receiver on the field for both teams. You got a one-on-one. He's going to get outside leverage. You give him that corner route. But either way, even as you get to this pass, it's a clean pocket. Shout out to Ramcheck doing a good job with hand usage there, fighting off the arc run, doing a good job to attack that half man. Penning does a better job as well. Second down, you're trying to go for a big play, but he's also he's beaming on this one. You can tell that pre-snap he chose, he wanted to go Keith Kirkwood here. I just don't get why we aren't going Chris Olave. It's whatever, but also it's a bad throw. So there's that too. But the big key that we're talking about, trying to focus on, is offensive line play. I do want to be fair and honest. I never want to make it seem like it's just every play is bad. There were some good reps. I think when I'm watching Ron Ramcheck, what I'm seeing is he just feels a little bit slower and sluggish. The hand usage is still there and the technique is there, but he doesn't feel like he has that same level of oomph in his play strength. He doesn't feel like he has that same level of zoom in his play speed. And maybe that's just what I'm seeing through 3 games, but definitely to kick it up a notch. All right, here we're going to go with another one. We're going to have Ram as a backside guy here, and he's going to get beat as a backside blocker. And again, this is just kind of surprising because the guy ends up making the tackle. You never want to be giving up the tackle to a backside defender. And again, it's just because this Ram is surprising. Now, he is doing the right thing in terms of initial step, but again, you expect his hand placement, his striking to be more powerful, more impactful. And here he gets swept through, and this is just not what you're used to seeing from Ram. And it's little things that take you from being at the very top to being in the mid to then eventually being at the bottom. And everywhere else is semi-decent. I'm not saying that, and I'm definitely not trying to make this video that all the problems are Ryan Ramcheck. So please don't take that as what I'm saying. But I am saying that you have some consistently bad reps in this game by Ram that led to some really key plays going against New Orleans, like this one. Now, I want you to take a note on this look right now. You have Andres Pete as the guy, as an extra offensive lineman on the outside in this block, and then you've got Penning, Hurst, McCoy, Ruiz, Ram. Why is this important? Well, you'll see a few plays later as we talk in this video, but New Orleans came in trying to make sure that there was extra protection there. I think Pete does a good job here, ends up going underneath. You could have argued that you go a little bit deeper here in the Olave cross, but it's not a bad decision by Carr, especially with the linebackers dropping in their zone, hit them underneath and get the big yards. I like it. Nothing wrong with that. But in terms of the pass blocking, pay attention. New Orleans utilizing a look that you're going to see later. And when Pete has to play inside, that means Landon Young gets that look and it just doesn't go as well. But here, it's pretty good. I like Ramcheck here. Does a great job getting inside. Again, when he has his strength there, like grip strength, he got in, he gets inside with his hands. I love the initial strike, love his leverage, and he sits down into his anchor. Look at that, inside hand placement, locked in. That's great. That's a really good rep by him. Just want you to pay attention to the look of this rep. All right, so now we're at the point where Andres Pete is playing left guard, and you've got Ryan Ramcheck over on the right side. He's going to lose to a 2-arm bull rush, and Derek Carr ends up getting sacked. Now, let's look across the line, because again, I don't want this to be a Ram hate session. Let's talk about how everybody's doing. Andres Pete just came in. I think he does a good job here to attack half man. Actually, does a fantastic job. He's clearing open the passing lane and attacks down. It's a great job to stick with it. And Ram ends up getting beat by a 2-arm here. But I do think that Pete did a good job, and it's worth noting if we end up having Cesar Ruiz missing time due to that concussion, they go with this lineup. So you have Juwan Johnson helping out Trevor Penning, which we like. And you have a little bit of help there by Prentice, just not enough. And then you end up having just getting beat by a 2-arm bull rush and power, speed to power here from the very outside. And this is a guy who gave New Orleans trouble all day long. I'm surprised that you didn't have more help. And I guess there was just a confidence that Ramcheck would be the guy that could take him one-on-one and stop him. And in this one, it just seems like you need Juwan Johnson on the other side here to follow him around. It's kind of funny. I was watching some NFL tape yesterday, and the Tennessee Titans actually had 2 tight ends that kept following Myles Garrett around. You know, at some point you get to a point where protecting the quarterback has to be a premium, and literally Derek Carr has now gotten injured because of this with a mild AC sprain. So you're the New Orleans Saints. If Ram has started to lose some of these speed rushers on a consistent basis, especially speed to power moves, get him some help. All right, again, not everything is bad. Not everything is terrible. Sometimes there are good reads and good reps, and I love this one. in terms of recovery by pinning, and then obviously a fantastic throw to Chris Olave. And I want to show you this play. I actually really love this one because of the design. And we talk about why do we want Derek Carr back? Because of this play right here. Derek Carr is going to hold the safety in that middle of the field close look, not let him trail down, and we're going to have a double move by Olave and just absolutely perfect window throw. This is the type of pre-snap to post-snap read and adjustments you want to see. Steps up in the pocket, love that, and then hit it in a window that only Olave can get it. That's what you do with your playmakers. This is a fantastic job. And let's talk about the blocking side of things. It isn't perfect, but it's effective. It's enough to let this play develop. Hurst ends up losing. That's a hold right there that doesn't get called. You get away with that one. But then you have good job by hand fighting with Ram. I think he does a pretty decent job there. Actually, Penning does a good job to recover when initially kind of losing that rep. He still gets his guy up the arc. In terms of yardage, that's good. I was actually talking to a former scout yesterday about one of Derek Carr's negatives that he can sometimes have, and he'll trail in that pocket. He'll drop too deep sometimes. He doesn't do that here. Steps up, very clean. Everything else is clean. It's a great job and a great pass. This is what you need more of if you're the Saints. More of this type of consistency from everybody. And then that offense really takes off. But you can definitely see some better reps here by Penning, who almost gets a hold there, but he lets it go. Still did a good initial job to defend the arc. And Ramcheck does a pretty decent job as well. So better reps here lead to a fantastic throw and catch by Chris Olave and Derek Carr. Another backside rep here by Ryan Ramcheck. And again, I want to kind of reinforce the point that not everything's a negative here. Great job to seal the backside. This is kind of what you wanted to see earlier. And I think part of this film today, I really want to, and my own self, why is Ram having some of the struggles he is? And I think the biggest thing is just his play speed seems to be down a little bit, but he still has a lot of good reps. The big issue is for the Saints, you're at a point where you need every rep to be a good rep. And specifically for Ram, as a former three-time All-Pro, you expect him to be the one giving you all the good reps. Now, I will argue that maybe Tony Jones Jr. should have taken that cut that Ramcheck provides here. He ends up trying to bounce it outside. I really think that maybe we want to take this cut upfield. You have one linebacker to beat, and then you've got Hurst helping you. But anyway, Ram does a good job on this rep, so I just want to reinforce that. We're not talking about Ramcheck has just completely fallen off the map, but I will argue that as we go through 3 weeks, he certainly doesn't look elite. And we've talked about Ram being an elite lineman for a long time, and he either gets back to that or we have to change the narrative that we're coming from. All right. This is a tough one because this is the one Derek Carr gets injured. You do have a blitz coming in, and I actually like the read here. I know some people have argued that why don't you hit Jimmy Graham here? Well, Jimmy Graham is going to be open short, but this is a 3rd and long. I mean, they got to get 10 yards. What they want to do is hit Michael Thomas on this crossing pattern right here, which is actually wide open. It's a great play call because Pete Carmichael has noticed that they're mostly sticking with that single high look, and even if they show two, they usually rotate out of it. So as you see the play go, they rotate out of it just as you would expect. Thomas does a good job to avoid. And right here, you can tell this is where Carr wants to go because this route is heading here. You got linebacker going in the wrong direction. Safety is in the middle of the field. This is where they want to go. So play design is good. You just need the blocking to maintain it, right? So let's talk about the blocking on the opposite side of this play. So we'll look at this angle and then we'll take the other one. Initially, does a good job by the running back to try to get in the way there. It's not perfect, but I think Kendre does a solid job blocking. The biggest issue really is Ram losing right there. And you do have multiple issues going on. So let's not put it all on Ram. But again, we're talking about Ramcheck losing. We can't have the guy that we talk about being our premier O-lineman. Everybody made the joke, and I don't like to joke about this, but everybody's like, oh, Penning's going to get Carr killed. Well, in this one, it's a wide 9, beating Ram with speed to power, putting him on skates, and then it ends up being a huge hit that literally gets him hurt. Now, as an offensive lineman and as a running back in block protection, you know that if you've got this much space open up, you just go ahead and know somebody's swinging in, right? You just got to prepare for it. I think McCoy does his job well. He collapses down, which is what you expect. Fill in the gap with the running back. Good initial block there. And then you just need everybody to hold it. Ram immediately loses. McCoy ends up losing his, and then it all kind of collapses down. So the read where they wanted to go here was there, but due to multiple losses along the front, you end up getting a big hit on Carr. And again, it comes from a guy on one side that you expect to be the best. And then it also comes with good design in terms of how to attack the interior against the Saints. by Green Bay. So a mix of things leads to be a really impactful in a bad way play for New Orleans, but you definitely got to have your playmakers play. That's something we always talk about. And you need Ramcheck to return to being that elite form. All right, remember earlier in the film study where I said, remember that look? Well, here it is, except now it's Landon Young out here, and the Packers have now had 2.5 quarters to wait for this to come back around. Now Anders Pete's in your left guard spot, and Landon Young has a one-on-one with the guy who's been destroying your offensive line all day long, and surprise, surprise, it happens again here. Everybody on the left side, and that wash down does great. It's a 4-man rush, though, and just absolutely beat, and Winston has no chance. I don't think Winston is a guy who deserves as much grief as he gets. Sure, he isn't an elite player, but he's still not terrible. Give him time. He can make a throw, and you had throws opening up here, but you made a play design that, thanks to injury, you kept the play going, and maybe we can argue Pete Carmichael shouldn't have done this, but ends up being another sack. And again, this is a consistent thing with this game. Just little things resulting in big, big mistakes. Pull the trigger, Derek Carr. I don't know when you're coming back, and I hope you come back healthy very soon. But this is a simple concept. It's the Yankee concept, and enough to where Chris Olave has to call for the ball twice and still not get it. Let me explain what it is for those who don't know. The Yankee concept is a 2-route concept with a deep in route and then a post over the top. The entire thing is predicated on creating one conflict defender, and it's the safety in the middle of the field. If he bites down, you go over the top. If he sinks back, you hit underneath. Chris Olave reads it correctly and says, hey, where's my football? And Derek Carr is out gallivanting around Green Bay, checking out the sights of Lambeau. But right here, throw it. Plant, you've got space, make the throw. The safety has dropped back. Now the safety is going to show that he's dropping in. He sees it. And now you have Rashid Shaheed. Cool. Now throw it over the top. Not wait 3 more seconds. You are not Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jesus. Throw the ball. Quit trying to make Hail Marys happen. Pull the trigger. All right, going to wrap this one up because honestly, you never like doing a film studies on losses as much as you do wins, right? That's just kind of common sense. So number one, join the Discord if you haven't already. You can ask for these film studies, talk about this, and we can conjecture on how we're going to take on the Buccaneers next week. I do think that Ram is a solid player. I really do. But I think that he's left that elite status. And I would love him to get back to that. And I don't know what it's going to take for that to happen. But right now, if you're the New Orleans Saints, you should be worried because things simply aren't going your way offensively. Even you've had some improvements in some areas. Obviously, this is not the way you wanted to start as an offense. Let's see if Alvin Kamara and company can help swap it around next week. Let me know what other film studies you want to see. I say this a lot and I mean it. In the comment section down below, let me know what you want to see in the next film room. Appreciate you. Who dat? God bless. Catch you on the next one.